Hi there, it's Ian from Griptape again, and today we're going to be jumping into some of the image generation features in Griptape Nodes, giving you a tour from some very basic examples with single nodes through to some more complex workflows that you can see open at the bottom of the canvas in front of me here. Before we get into image generation using nodes on the canvas, it's worth pointing out that you can generate images in Griptape Nodes using the chat that we have integrated into the editor up here on the top right of this sidebar. This is agentic, so we can give simple instructions to the chat and it will go off and use tools to perform those instructions. And one of the tools that we have here is an image generation tool, which is built on OpenAI's image generation API, coupled with an agent, as I've mentioned. And that will also work for image generation. When you do generate images up here using the image generation tools in chat, you can pull those images onto your canvas and use them as inputs into your flows. So that is a handy tip recently added to the editor, but available in the editor now is this chat-based image generation. When that completes in a couple of minutes, we'll show you how to pull those images onto the canvas so that you can use them. But let's jump into the nodes that we have on the canvas here as examples and talk you through some of the features that we have for image generation in Griptape Nodes. So this is our standard generate image node, which you can see over here. And to create one of these nodes, we just drag that onto our canvas and that node will be created. Oh, there's our first generated image up there. So we have our image of a sailing yacht off the coast of Italy that I asked for, and I can pull this image onto my canvas and that will create a load image node for us, and we can then use that as the input to a workflow or use that image in our workflow. So this chat is integrated with the editor in that way. So back to these examples, as you saw, I created my first generate image node there just by dragging a node from the sidebar onto the canvas. And I can do that as many times as I want. I've got quite a few examples where I've already done that and run generation jobs. Generation jobs obviously take a few seconds, as you've seen with that example in the chat-based agent sidebar that we have there. So these are already being run just to save a little bit of time on this video. So the first thing we have is image generation with DALL-E 3 that you can see here. So this is the DALL-E 3 model available on OpenAI. Again, the same prompt, sailing yacht off the coast of Italy. We also have Image 1, which is OpenAI's newer image generation model. And that is an image here, same prompt. And you can see there's a little bit of a stylistic and quality difference between those two images already, with the second one being more photorealistic in style. We have additional functions, additional options within the image generation prompt. So you can change, for example, the image size that you're going to get outputted. Here I've increased the image size to 1536 by 1024, and you can see that I've got a larger image that's been generated there using the same model, using the GPT Image 1 model. And of course, this highlights an interesting characteristic of generative AI systems, right? These are non-deterministic. So same prompt gives us quite a different image with quite a different look and feel. And these two are quite different boats. This one's got black sails, as you can see. This one's got a Genoa and jib setup, and that's the two foresails on the boat. And it also has white sails, so it's quite different even though we've used the same prompt. So those are the most basic ways in which you can put just the generate image node to work on your canvas. Now you'll notice one of the options there is enhance prompts, and if we turn on enhance prompt, you can see that that does dramatically change the way in which our image looks. And if you have the console open where you started Griptape Nodes, you can see that an agent is being invoked to perform that prompt enhancement operation. And that agent prompt is the thing that you can see in the top box here. So we make a request to a large language model asking the large language model to enhance the following prompt for an image generation engine, returning only image generation prompt. And we include these additional instructions that you can see here. So when doing that with a sailing yacht off the coast of Italy, we get a response back that looks a little bit like this. And that response is then passed to the image generation model for the image generation operation, which is why we get a much more stylized effect when we turn on the enhance prompt option. Of course, this is a node-based editor, so you're also able to connect inputs and outputs to your generate image nodes. Here you can see I've connected a text input. This is handy if you want to use the same prompt across a variety of different generate image nodes or a variety of different nodes that might use different models. And we'll see some examples of that a little bit later. I've got 1024 square format turned on here and enhanced prompt is set to true. So I'm getting the prompt enhancement. And then I have an output and I flow my generated image out into this save image node. And each time this node is run, this image will be saved in a file called sailing_yacht in my workspace directory, which is typically my home directory / Griptape Nodes. So you can save an image quite simply by doing that. And there are other types of inputs that you can connect as well. In this example here, I am connecting a different image generation model. So in this case, I'm using Grok's image generation image model config with their Grok 2 image 1212 model. And I'm getting a slightly different style, look and feel to the image. And I do not have control over things like aspect ratio with Grok's model. I always get images that are of a certain aspect ratio and a certain size. So a little bit more basic, but offers, there you go, 720 by 960 is the default output format. A little bit more basic in terms of the options that are available to you, but it just produces images of a slightly different look and feel, which you might want for your particular use case or your particular scenario. So let's move on to something a little bit more complex. What if I don't like the style of image that is generated by the built-in prompt enhancement approach that we have? Well, I can generate my own prompt enhancement prompt or create my own prompt enhancement prompt. And in this particular example, you can see that I've asked for focus on qualities that will make this the most professional looking painting in the world. And if you were very observant in the prior example, you might have noticed that our built-in prompt enhancement asks for the most professional looking photo in the world. So if I want to enhance a prompt and get the prompt to match a particular style or include other characteristics in the enhanced prompt, I can do that by using an agent and providing that agent with a custom prompt enhancement prompt. I feed in the raw prompt that I was going to use as additional context, and then I pass the output from that agent to the generation model. And here you can see an example of using the same prompt with a couple of different generate image nodes. The top one is using OpenAI GPT Image 1, and the bottom one is using the Grok model that I was using just a second ago. You can see that they're both getting prompts, the same prompt, a highly detailed, hyper-realistic painting of a sleek-looking sailing yacht, and I get quite different results with that. So we're getting that stylized paint effect in these generated images, and those two models do give us quite different outputs, but they've both got that kind of painted look and feel to them, which is what I had inside my agentic prompt enhancement prompt that I was using there. So that's a moderately complex workflow showing prompt customization, prompt enhancement with customization, and also flowing one prompt into a couple of different image generation models. How about consistency? So what if we want to not have an entirely generated yacht in our image? We want something that has some consistency, maybe for product placement use cases or for advertising use cases, or even for characters in film, TV, and video game use cases. This can be really, really valuable. And for here, we're using a different model entirely. So here we have used a Runway ML model. And you can see that I have quite a few custom libraries installed in my environment here. I have Runway ML, which is a custom library, and we recently produced a video about how to install custom libraries, which I recommend you take a look at. Now we have create reference image, which we're using here, and also the Runway text to image node, which we're using over here. And with this reference image, we're able to supply an input image, which you can see here. We're able to convert that input image into a reference image with our create reference image node. And then we're able to provide that reference image as an input alongside a prompt to generate images that incorporate aspects of our reference image, either objects, style, look and feel, composition, and that can be specified in the prompt that we use. And here you can see that our prompt says a luxurious sailing yacht, and we use the @yacht tag to refer back to the tag that we have here in our reference image. We set a different aspect ratio from the broad range of different options that are available with Runway. Here we have 2112 by 1912, which is a wide format. And we get a pretty good representation of the yacht from our reference images. If you look at the 3 portholes on the side here and the porthole at the front, the colouring, the sails, the sunscreen, sunshade on top of the boat, on top of the yacht there, you can see that many of these characteristics are pulled directly from the reference images that we have here. So using third-party models can provide you with a higher degree of control over the output assets that are generated. And then lastly, we have something a little bit more complex. What we're using here in this final flow is parameterized looping generation. So I have a set of input parameters that I provide here at the front of my flow, and these are self-evidently locations: Italy, Norway, Antarctica, Barbados, and Patagonia. I have the for each start construct, which is connected to a for each end node. And it's connected through a series of other nodes, which are going to be executed in a flow each time we take in one of our input items. So first of all, we'll grab the first item in this list, Italy, and we'll use this merge text node first of all, a sailing yacht off the coast of Patagonia. It's actually on the last one if we've run the flow, but that would be Italy for the first. We feed that in. We use another agent with another custom prompt enhancement prompt. Specify a specific depth of field and time of day. The photo will be used in a yachting magazine for a feature about a journey to several different countries on this yacht. Aerial photos that show the vessel in all its glory. Be sure to use the yacht from the reference accurately and state this clearly in the prompt. So that is executed in combination with a sailing yacht off the coast of Italy, a sailing yacht off the coast of Norway, and so on. And we get a different prompt each time. Here you can see the one for the final iteration, which is a breathtaking aerial photograph of the reference sailing yacht cruising off the dramatic coast of Patagonia, and so on. And then here we're using another custom model in this particular, another custom node. In this particular case, we're using Flux one, which is from Black Forest Labs, from the Black Forest Labs node library, which actually is the node library that we covered installation of in our recent video about how to install custom nodes. And you can see that our prompt also includes instructions to place text onto the photo. And you can also here see one of the challenges of generative models for image generation, which is that we have a spelling error in Patagonia. So it proves that proofing of these images is still really important. We capture the results from each iteration of our loop in this for each end node, and we add each one of those items to a list. And then here we have our display list node, and you can see that actually we only hit a spelling issue on one of our 5 runs. So we have Italy, we have Norwegian fjords, we have Antarctica. I really love what it's done with that one, putting the boat at night, obviously, with the darkness there in the winter months. We have Barbados, and then we have our Patagonia generation with our spelling issue on it at the end there. So that is a quick tour of image generation features in Griptape Nodes, from the very basic to the moderately advanced, with our iterative generation process for those images that I showed you at the end there. I hope that's been useful for you. As usual, if you want to learn more about Griptape Nodes, check it out at www.griptapenodes.com, and don't forget to join our Discord, which is linked from that website, if you've got any questions or you want any help or support in getting started with Griptape Nodes. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you soon. Bye.